Appreciate you listening to RetireATL. It's all powered by the Vincent Financial Group. If you hear anything on this weekend show you need some clarity on, ready to get serious about customizing your plan, as we've said a couple of times this weekend, maybe you have a big box advisor, feel like your needs aren't being met, feel like you haven't heard from them, maybe but twice this year. There's nothing wrong with asking the questions. It's your money. If you've got a savings account, 401k, a nice pension, reach out to the team. Let's sit down. Let's have a no-cost, no-obligation consultation with Matt, with Aaron, with the team at the Vincent Financial Group. Main office in Woodstock, multiple other locations. Of course, the Zoom and the phone consultations always available. 770-741-0120. Again, 770-741-0120. Matt, fascinating article. The 5 things that wealthy people do to consistently keep them wealthy. Gone through a couple of those. You can find it on the podcast in the archives. But this one really kind of threw me back. Number 3 here. It says they've overplanned for retirement. I didn't think that was possible to overplan for your retirement.
I'm not sure that it is.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I think what they're getting at here, or whenever because I like to think I overplan. Like it's my job. Like if you're one of my clients, I feel like my job is to plan and maybe overplan. And so when I think of overplan, I think of...
You know what I think of when we talk about overplanning?
What?
I think of how you planned for our Wyoming trip.
Oh, yes.
What happened
That's
here?
a perfect example.
Let me set the stage.
Yeah, you go for it. You can probably tell it to me.
So it's Aaron's trip. We've got a group of buddies that we're all turning 40. And so we've just kind of told our wives, hey, PSA, when...
Matt, we asked our wives.
That's right. We asked our wives. We didn't tell our
When
wives.
you're talking to the guys, it's like, I told my wife. When she's in the room, I politely asked her.
I asked her, please,
She
dear.
gave me permission.
There's a little bit of truth to the told, though, and we played this strategically. So all you guys out there, listen up. We got a secret for you. Aaron turned 40 first. And so we asked our wives, hey, Aaron's turning 40. We want to do a big birthday celebration. And, Aaron wants to go out west. He's planning this big trip. How do you feel about us being gone for, 8 to 10 days? How do you feel about that? and so, the first one was like, oh, gosh, 8 to 10 days. Okay, all right, yeah, of course. Aaron's turning 40. Love Aaron. Yes. Well, see, now the secret is, now we get to tell because there's 7 guys in this group. Right. I can't go on Aaron's 40th birthday party and not go on Tom's.
Matt came to my trip. I can't not go on his.
Support your buddies.
So it started with an ask, and now it really has become more of like hey, by the way, Craig's turning 40 this year, so I'll be gone for another 8 to 10 days. But we talk about this because Aaron planned this trip. I mean, how long did you spend planning this trip?
Probably, it started a year in advance, but I would say I really, really planned, 8 or 10 months, like getting into the details. So what we did was we went out to Wyoming, and I found a guide service, an outfitter, and I told them I want to be as remote as possible. Like I don't want to go to the national parks and be having a hard time finding a parking spot. I want to go out west where it's the Wild West, right? And so I said...
I think you said I want to be able to ride naked on horseback and not worry about anyone seeing me.
Well, that guy didn't call me back, but...
Seeing me again.
That's right. Yes. But no, for real, yeah. We wanted to be, I said, if it's possible, I'd like to be out where I don't see another soul, just our group for a week. And he's like, I think I can do that. So we were on horseback.
This sounds a little Dateline true crime right here. I'm going to take you out in the woods. May or may not come back.
So we went on horseback, and we were in the wilderness for 8 days, fly fishing, horseback riding, exploring, camping, having a blast. But yeah, everything down from what we were going to eat to what flies we were going to use for fishing to the weather to, you name it. I was in the details.
Where were we going to get our bear spray?
Yes.
Where were we going to purchase our bourbon?
Yes.
What was the shuttle service going to be to and from the airport? Because we had to fly in one place and drive to another place. Planned to a T. But here's the deal, and this gets back to the article. They've overplanned for retirement. This is the 5 things that wealthy people do to stay wealthy. And we're talking about number 3, they've overplanned for retirement. We left from that trip in Wyoming, and every single one of us said, man, that was such a great trip. I would have paid double what we paid. It was so worth it. I would have paid double. And the only reason I think we felt that way is because Aaron spent a year planning that trip, and it went off without a hitch.
I thought you were going to say naked horseback riding.
No, none of that. That didn't happen. But, that's a good point. And I think the the secret sauce into that is planning for contingencies, what ifs. And I think that's where, because things are going to happen, right? If you're going to go out west for 10 days, you're going to have a bunch of dudes and there's going to be horses involved. And look, we aren't cowboys, news.
Well, you can speak for
flash.
yourself. I'm a cowboy. No.
None of us are seasoned horseback riders. And so, this is a whole new, like there are sheer cliffs where you're on horseback and one wrong move and you're 1,000 feet down. I don't know, something crazy. So anyway, the point is there's a lot that goes into these trips and a lot goes into retirement, and over planning to me, when I read this, it's what ifs.
Yeah.
Okay. Over planning doesn't mean you oversaved by 3x. Well, I needed 2 million for the lifestyle that I wanted, but I saved 6 million. That's how I overplanned. Well, yeah, of course. That yes, if you can do that, then go for it. You should do that. But when I hear they overplanned for retirement, number 3, tips to stay wealthy, I think they plan for what ifs. They plan for contingencies. They plan for curveballs. If this happens, I'll do that. If that happens, I'll do this. That's overplanning.
Which is exactly what we do in our retirement roadmap, where we actually stress test your portfolio through all kinds of different situations. We look at periods of high inflation. We look at periods of market volatility. We look at what happens if you die too soon. What happens if your spouse dies too soon? What if you live too long? What if you have a long-term care episode? All these things are the what ifs, the over planning that comes into, looking at your retirement situation. And what are the 5 things wealthy people do to stay wealthy? Well, they look at the contingency plans and they have a backup plan if something goes wrong. When something goes wrong, they know what their move's going to be.
Yep.
Do you find that people plan, as Aaron was just talking about, this great vacation, spend a year and a half planning for it? Do you find that a lot of people spend a year and a half, 2-3 years planning for a trip to Disney, but then don't spend but maybe an hour every 6 months planning for their retirement?
I think so. And I actually think it gets back to something that we've talked about a few times on the show here, which is, and I'm guilty of this too. So look, I'm talking to myself. I don't enjoy going into the doctor. And the reason I don't is not because I'm unhealthy. I take care of myself. I work out. My family's very healthy. There's no history of it. No, but I've got that kind of gut level fear. Well, what if he says something's wrong?
Yeah.
What if something's not right? I'm going to find out. It's like, well, yeah, you want to find out, right? You want to know if something's not right. But I think people approach retirement planning the same way, whereas when they're thinking about their vacation, they're not worried about something going wrong. They're thinking about all the cool stuff that they're going to get to do. And so I would love to see people in the Atlanta area, through our efforts, and there's some other good financial planners out there, but man, I would love to see people shift their mentality around retirement planning. And instead of thinking about like it's a bad thing, like, oh, what if something goes wrong? Let's get excited about retirement. It can be great. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be in retirement? What's important to you? Let's go plan for it and make it happen.
Mark, I think the answer is yes. People do spend more time sometimes planning for their vacation than they do retirement. And the reason why I say that is because not that they don't spend time thinking about their retirement, but their definition or idea of planning is way wrong. So most people, just in having conversations, when they say, I've been planning for my retirement for a long time, here's what they mean. They mean that every month I log into my 401k account or whatever account I've got. I log in, I get the balance. And then I go get my calculator out and I do math. I say, okay, this much money and divided by this long of a retirement and this kind of a return, that's my retirement. And their idea of planning is just redoing that every month or quarter or whatever, doing the math and the calculation different because the balance is different. It went up or it went down. And that's the definition of retirement planning. I'm looking at my balances and I'm referencing that against my income want. A lot of 401k plans or, if you've got your IRA or whatever with certain firms, they've got their own sort of calculators, right? You can kind of see where you're at on this roadmap and that's fine. That's better than nothing, but it's definitely not retirement planning. That's not contingency planning. That's just simply doing math based on your current balance. And those are not the same thing.
If everything goes well,
yes.
That's if everything goes well retirement plan, which is not really a retirement plan. That's just hoping and praying that everything goes well.
The problem with that is you have to keep doing that through retirement, which will make you go absolutely crazy. You have to get your calculator out and say, my new account balance is X. How am I doing? And if you're doing that every month,
it's going to the doctor every day.
Exactly right.
You don't want to go to the doctor every day.
You're not enjoying your retirement.
No.
That's rough.
I blame that, Matt, about us, especially these guys. We're so stubborn about going to the doctor. I blame WebMD. Like, I'll get a hangnail. I'll look on WebMD and they're like, get your affairs in order. You're going to die.
Exactly.
That's why I think I'm so terrified to go. 770-741-0120. And I can tell you, I've been to the home office of the Vincent Financial Group. It is not intimidating. It is not stuffy. It is a beautiful office located in downtown Woodstock, right off the street. You don't park, have to get it validated, have to get a ticket, have to go up the elevator, don't know where you're going. It's down by the dentist office, third floor on the right, past back. It's not like that. It's the home office right on the street, downtown Woodstock, 770-741-0120. But the team serves all of Metro Atlanta. They have a spot that they can meet you, or as always, those phone and Zoom consultations are available. 770-741-0120. RetireATLradio.com. Big point of conversation we've had at many times, gentlemen. Social Security, estimating that the trust fund for Social Security will go dry as early as 2035. If Congress does nothing, benefits could be cut by as much as 25%. I want you to hear this clip from Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. He says the writing, it's already on the wall.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have union money. We're dead broke. We are in huge trouble. And we had better start figuring that out, because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money for 40 years in the market and probably be worth $8 to $10 million today. But the federal government wasted it. People are going to continue to work longer and longer.
Tommy, don't hold back, buddy. Tell me how you really
Tell me
feel.
how you really feel. Yeah.
Good gracious.
Is that all? Is that all, Tommy?
Tuberville. I mean, he's straight out. It's a scam. Listen to this very first part one more time.
This is all a scam.
I mean right out the gate, it's all a scam.
All a scam.
So when you hear something like that, I mean, he brings up some points right there. What are we doing now to protect ourselves in case this does happen?
Well, first of all, I got to say it's refreshing to hear a politician just say it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not assessing how accurate what he's saying is yet. We'll get there in a minute. But just to say, like, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is my take on things. Here it is. Just wide open. That's actually refreshing for me to hear a politician talk like that. So good for you, Mr. Tuberville.
I think a lot of people probably think the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been told so many times now. This is what, get prepared. Sorry, we know you've been given into this your entire life, but sorry, we had other government programs. We had to use your money. So what are you telling clients that are worried about that, Matt?
Yeah, so there's a couple things here, and I totally agree with everything you're saying there, Aaron. There's a couple things about Social Security that are important, because if you go out there and you do a Google search and you say, Social Security's broke, you're going to see all kinds of articles. Talk about how Social Security trust funds going to run out of money, and there's estimates anywhere between, I think the earliest I've seen is 2033. I think the latest I've seen is maybe 2037. Mm-hmm. Social Security's broke. That's what you'll see if you do the Google search. But we should add some context, because Social Security trust fund going broke doesn't mean Social Security stops. What it means is they can't continue to pay at the rate that they've been paying. What's coming in from, workers that are paying into Social Security, it's not enough to support the increasing benefits that Social Security have, and it's not enough to continue to add people to the roles of Social Security. So when you go out there and you do your Google search, you're going to see a lot of scary stuff. Let me boil it down for you. If they do not fix Social Security, and by fix it, I mean raise taxes, get more dollars into the system. They either have to get more dollars into the system or cut benefits. And that's what they're talking about with Social Security going broke. They're forecasting somewhere between a 20 and 30% cut in Social Security benefits because there's no money in the trust fund anymore. And so that's number one. We talk about stress testing retirements. One of the things that we build into every single retirement plan is a cut to Social Security benefits, because we know that politicians can agree on one thing: not reducing entitlement programs and continuing to spend more money. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. No one's going to reduce entitlement programs, and no one's going to spend less. And so that's just baked into our cake. We forecast a reduction in Social Security benefits in all the retirement plans that we put together. And if you haven't baked that into your cake, then I would say that you've probably got an ingredient that's missing, because it seems very likely that either taxes get increased to accommodate not cutting Social Security, or Social Security is going to have to be cut by around 25% once their trust fund runs out of money.
Yeah, all good stuff. And let's do what we have to do with these kind of things. Let's take a big step back for a second, because all that you just said was true. And it's good to actually look at the specifics and not just hear a politician speak or any kind of talking head speak and then just take that and run with it and be afraid. Let's take a step back here. For most people out there, if your retirement is wrecked, if your Social Security benefit is cut by fill in the blank, 25%,
let's say.
if that wrecks your retirement, you're already in need of a different plan.
You had an everything goes right plan.
Yes, you didn't
actually have a retirement plan.
Razor thin margin for error. And if this gets you all in a huff and now you're worried and now you're freaking out and now you got to work longer and now I'm screwed, then we got to talk, because that is it's not nothing. I don't want to brush over this as if it doesn't matter.
We're not saying you shouldn't be upset.
Absolutely.
We're not saying you shouldn't be angry.
The government
but you should be prepared.
Yes, the government mismanaging our money should make us mad. We should be upset. But if your plan is, the margins are so razor thin that it only works if things go well, then that's not much of a plan. That's what we talk about all the time.
If your plan is based on the government being fiscally responsible with your tax dollars, that's a tough place to be.
It's not a plan.
The worst plan you can have is not having a plan. 770-741-0120. And, Matt, you were saying when we previewed that audio a little bit earlier that you said, he makes a couple of really good points.
I actually love the point that he makes. He called Social Security a scam, but I think those are pretty harsh words. What he means, though, is, let me say it a different way. One of my favorite quotes: guarantees are expensive. Risk is free. And Social Security is a guaranteed program. And the point he makes was, I've been paying into Social Security for 20, 30, 40 years, however long it's been. If I would have just been able to invest those dollars, I might have $8 million on my hands. And he's not wrong, because, back to that quote, guarantees are expensive, risk is free. And he's hitting at the heart of that quote, which is, if you're relying on the government to guarantee you your retirement, that is expensive. You're not going to have as much if you're relying on someone else to guarantee everything. But if you're willing to take a little bit of risk, you can probably end up with quite a bit more. And people shouldn't be scared of risk. Risk is not something to be scared of. You just have to be able to quantify it. You have to know what it can do to you one way or another. There's nothing wrong with taking risk. But if you're relying on everything being guaranteed, that's a very expensive plan, and you're going to end up with much less when it's all said and done.
Mm-hmm. The importance of having a plan. With the help from the team at the Vincent Financial Group, 770-741-0120. Again, 770-741-0120. Matt, talk to me about the person that we're talking to this weekend. Who are you looking to help? Is it the 50, the 55-year-old, the 60-year-old? Who is right in the wheelhouse that could use your help this weekend?
I think the person that's right in the wheelhouse is someone who knows retirement is coming, probably in the next 5 to 10 years. There's definitely a sweet spot where a lot of moves can be made in those 5 to 10 years before you retire. We talked earlier in the show about the 5 things that rich people do to stay rich. Mm-hmm. One of them is reduce taxes. A lot of those tax reduction strategies play out over that 5 to 10 year period leading up to retirement. And so, who are we talking to? We're talking to that person that has done a good job saving for retirement. They've done all that they can, and they need good advice. Maybe they feel weird about going into the doctor, as we've talked about. They don't want to get bad news, but at the same time, you got to take an honest assessment at what you've done, where you are, what's your starting point A, and where you want to get to, point B. So we're looking for people that are serious about retirement. They know that they want someone that they can get help from, someone that they like, that they trust, someone that's going to be around for their whole retirement. We're not retiring right now. Mm-hmm. You are. We're not. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit unique in this financial advisor space. Most of our peers are getting into their retirement years.
Yeah.
And we've got a long run at this. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, Aaron, someone 5 to 10 years away from retirement, done a good job saving.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Matt. It's anyone who wants to be serious about this. a lot of firms have very rigid account minimums. We don't want to talk to you unless you've got X dollars. And we don't have an exact number amount, and that's on purpose. But Matt, you said it well. If you've taken this seriously, maybe you have X amount of dollars or Y amount of dollars, but if you're serious about it and you want to get to the point where you want to plan for it and you want to have some concrete decisions and you're approaching the window that you mentioned, or you're in that window where, hey, I've done a bulk of my retirement savings and I'm aware of the need for some professional advice. I need to tighten the screws on this some. I need to make sure I'm on track. Even if it's just I need someone to reassure me. I need to make sure that my feelings are correct or challenge me where I don't know what I don't know. Those kind of conversations are what we enjoy having. That's who we like to help.
It's the retirement roadmap from the team at the Vincent Financial Group. Again, you've done a good job of saving. You have a 401k, you have a pension, a Roth. You're ready to get serious about customizing that plan, or maybe you just need a second set of eyes. Take advantage of it. It's no cost. It's no obligation. 770-741-0120. That initial consultation, opportunity just to get to know each other. Matt, you said something earlier that made me laugh. You said, bring your wallet, but leave it in your back pocket. It ain't coming out in that first conversation.
That's right. Yeah, bring it. You might get pulled over on the way. Don't want that to happen.
Better to need it, not have it,
That's
than
right.
have it, not need it.
That's
But you're not going to need it with that initial consultation with Aaron Vincent, Matthew Decker, and the team at the Vincent Financial Group. 770-741-0120. Aaron, Matt, thank you for the education and the information this weekend. We invite y'all to check out the RetireATL podcast. This weekend show, a full archive is available, all commercial free. Again, just put a search on it, RetireATL, wherever you find your favorite shows. We're back next weekend, but for Aaron Vincent, Matthew Decker, this has been RetireATL right here on WSB.